Well, hi there. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit more in detail the three different types of unemployment, and then we're going to finish with discussing the natural rate of unemployment. So let's get started. Okay, so the top portion of lecture 2 here is really just a repeat from the previous lecture where we said the civilian labor force is divided into two groups, the employed and the unemployed. All of these would qualify you as employed. We really just said if you worked an hour for pay or if you had a job this week, that counts. Unemployed means that, now we're getting blurry. I'm going to have to zoom in just a shade here. Unemployed means, as I was just kind of saying here, that it means you're seeking a job, but you don't have one. And so let's see if that helps. Nope. 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 Doesn't help. Doesn't help. I think it's this flowchart thing. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. It's the flowchart thing. So unemployed, as I said, is not employed, and it means that you're actively looking. You're putting in applications and things. We talked about the unemployment rate as well, but there are three types of unemployed, and these three types are really about the causes, right? The causes of the unemployment, why you're unemployed. The first would be cyclical, and this is caused by a recession, and hence the name cyclical unemployment, right? It's the business cycle. And so this would be because really demand for goods, I put a D or G there, demand for goods goes down during a recession, and so demand for labor goes down. And so we'd say that typically cyclical unemployment happens because we don't have the derived demand for the labor. This is something that only exists when you're in a recession. And realistically, in the months and years following a recession, often there is cyclical unemployment. That's like the hangover unemployment from the recession. So sometimes it can take time to get these people back to work. But for our purposes of our class, that we would say, this is true, right? So I'm just going to kind of put an arrow down to this little starred point. If cyclical unemployment exists, the economy's in a recession, right? So that's the really important part. It tells us we're in a recession if we have cyclical unemployment in this class. Now, the other two types are what we consider to be natural unemployment. That's what I'm kind of surrounding them with a dashed line for. These are the natural unemployment. These are the normal types of unemployment that we would expect there to be in a free economy. So we have generic reasons. It's really just temporary unemployment for generic reasons. And we call that frictional unemployment. It just means you're temporarily between jobs. So, for example, a layoff not related to a recession, if you quit your job, if you got fired from your job, if you graduated and you were graduated and looking for a job, all of those would constitute frictional unemployment. So these are just kind of general reasons for being unemployed. This is something we would expect there to be in a market economy, right? So that's kind of normal. Structural unemployment means that the structure of the labor market, market, is such that, I don't know what all these bullet points are in here, such that QS, quantity supplied, is bigger than QD of labor. And that means that there's a greater quantity supplied than quantity demanded of that type of labor. And that could be caused by a variety of specific things, but usually it's technology of some kind and automation. Right? The example I like to give to students is it doesn't have to be the robot is replacing your job, right? And therefore you don't have the demanded amount. The employers don't want to hire as much. But it could just be that maybe something about the technology in the job has changed so that they don't want you or they don't want as many people. And so, for example, the rise of AI will lead to structural unemployment, not necessarily because it's totally automating out of the job people, but it's making certain people a lot more productive, which means they don't need to hire as many workers. So there are some people who are going to lose their jobs and be structurally unemployed as a result of AI. But often this happens with other more banal technologies as well, right? The internal combustion engine led to structural unemployment, right? You had all these people who were employed in shoeing horses, in caring for horses, in building wagons and building carriages, all of that infrastructure, even the people who shoveled the poop of the horses out of the street, all those jobs had to change, right? Many of them disappeared, and those people became structurally unemployed. So very often it's driven by advances in technology. Another reason is high minimum wages can also cause it, or really a really robust welfare state, right? But what we'll kind of say is high minimum wages will often lead to this environment where you have more quantity supplied than quantity demanded. And I'll just kind of sketch a picture right? If you remember, wage and quantity of labor, supply and demand. So maybe there's something up here that's causing the wage to be way up here, such that the QD is less than the QS. And so that's really what structural unemployment is referring to, that there's a greater quantity supplied than quantity demanded of that particular type of labor. Now, if we added these two together, structural and frictional, we get what's called the natural rate of unemployment. And this natural rate of unemployment, right, means that we are at that potential level of output. So a way to think about it is that if NRU, the natural rate of unemployment, equals the actual unemployment rate, then the YF, full employment, is equal to the Y. And these really two statements here refer to output and the relationship with unemployment. So we would say full employment equals the Y level of output if the natural level of unemployment is equal to the actual level of unemployment. So this was something we talked about with the business cycle. So we'll go back to the business cycle if you want a quick review on that. So hopefully that helps you understanding the three types of unemployment and how they relate to the business cycle. I'll see you next time.